presenting the aristocrats of the world of harness horses, born and brought to perfection here at one of California's most famous breeding farms. They are the standard bred horse, the stock from which comes our great trotters and pacers, our Gold Cup show horses. But there's nothing in the Equine Blue Book that says they must race all the time or even go on display. They can let their mane down once in a while and contemplate the curious facts of life. And this morning happens to be an especially fine time for just that. An important event in the life of every good mare is about to occur, and it's time to call the doctor. Yes, here's one item the columnist missed. For one of the farm's most prominent boarders is infanticipating. It's strictly a matter of routine now. And while he waits for the arrival of the veterinarian, this trainer and godfather of 100 famous pacers and trotters drops out to see the anxious and expectant mother, probably to advise her the stork's on his way, as if she didn't know. Well, let's get started. So here, with this trip to the hospital, begins our life history of a harness horse, a horse with a blue-blooded heritage. And if you want proof of good breeding, just watch this example of perfect behavior. But then mothers usually do know how to conduct themselves on occasions like this. It's Papa who goes to pieces. Yes, he's been making a general nuisance of himself since early morning. Not much to be done now, but wait. And besides, from this point on, the trainer is just about as useful to the whole proceedings as that hysterical husband out in the corral. No, from now on, it's up to Mama, to say nothing of Doc. And as for him, it's all in the day's work. That almost goes for Mama, too. This happens to be her fourth, you know. But just the same, there's always a little concern. Let's see here. Well, that's a comfort. The same Doc she's always had. So for a while, all's quiet. But outside, Papa's in a terrible state. And that old gossip from the next corral is all ears. And she can start passing the word around now, for here's the newborn babe. The blessed event has come to pass. And both Mother and the future record breaker are doing very well indeed, thank you. Not to mention Papa, who, as usual, is taking all the bows. But you can't blame him. After all, it's a boy. A beautiful 90-pound baby boy named Mortimer, after his grandfather on his mama's side. And is Mama proud? Here, take it easy. You're not 5 minutes old yet. Pretty early to start walking. Watch it. Oh, tough luck, old man. But keep plugging. A little encouragement from Mama, a few more spills, and a strong willpower ought to get some results. You're doing all right, though. Why, according to the doc, some of them don't walk for fully half an hour. And here you are at exactly 15 minutes. Steady there, Morty. Watch those legs. Brace yourself. That's it. Stay right in there. You're doing great. And there he goes. He's up. He's down. But he's made the grade. And Mama's satisfied. All right, Morty. Let's take a look at the world. Providing Mama goes along, of course, just in case. No, it's all right. He's in very good hands. In fact, in the hands of his personal physician, who at this point means practically nothing to Mama. Doc or no doc, she's looking after Sonny Boy. And as for Sonny Boy, about all he's looking after are those 4 wobbly, gangling pins that will one day take a prize for grace and rhythm, or win a race. Which it will be, a show horse or a trotter, it's too early to tell. But in either case, this pure-blooded foal is a cinch for blue ribbons. He has a way with those legs. You think he hasn't? Believe it or not, Morty hasn't one drop of grasshopper blood. This 30-minute upstart is 100% unadulterated championship standard bred stock. Just finding out what it's like to be alive and making his debut to the local social whirl and creating quite a stir. The kids next door are going to show the newcomer what legs are really for. But Morty's a little busy right now. There's a brand new world to see. Pretty fair-sized place, huh? Hey, kid, look over here. Get a load of this. Okay, how's that? Well, at least it's a tip-off to the trainer, for here's a born racer if ever there was one. And a year's growth and development has done nothing to alter that hunch. Morty, out of foalhood now, must take on the responsibilities and trappings of a yearling. This is his first meeting with harness. And does he like it? Well, what do you think? But there's nothing unusual about that. If you'd been gallivanting about the fields all your life, smelling wildflowers and kicking up your heels, you wouldn't want to go to school either. But good racing means early training, and Morty's education begins. Only this cart routine doesn't help matters at all. First, they stick an iron bar in your mouth, and then they lace you up with a lot of silly straps, and then, just to make it really tough, they tie you to a wagon. And for what? Well, never mind, Morty. You'll find out. Incidentally, this cart, the training rig, is considerably heavier than the regular sulky, which is used in actual racing events. That's based on the principle of putting lead in your shoes. It feels so good when you stop. Hey, come on, let's call this thing off. Whatever the idea is, it's not worth it. Oh, isn't it? It may not be as much fun as the ordinary, unbridled brand of open field cavorting, but it's running, and what running? It's at this stage of the game that Morty decides which style of racing gait best suits him, pacing or trotting. That's what we'll concentrate on then, the perfect trotting gait. So right now, we'll do a little repair work on the stride. And speaking of putting lead in your shoes, that's exactly what the trainer's going to do to our boy, but not for the purpose of developing pulling power. As Morty races, these weights inserted in his hoofs will toss his feet further forward and thus lengthen his stride. Like this. And here's a fine study of your highly talented standard-bred trotter. Notice the gait. The right front leg moves in tandem with the left rear one, and the left front leg, well, you get the idea. Anyway, that's trotting, designed strictly for high-speed running in long-distance races, just as this is prancing, designed strictly for show. Unlike Morty, you see, this boy went out for ballet. He's what is known as a hackney, and his ancestors have endowed him with all the requirements of a great exhibitionist. His place is the ring, as a show horse, and not the track, as a racer. He's out to win prizes on technique alone. Take a lesson in superb grace, perfect rhythm, and professional poise. All of these add up to points in the final score. And one essential rule in competition is that at least 1 foot be on the ground at all times. See? And that applies only to show horses, never to racers. Here's your pacer, a horse that doesn't care how many feet are off the track, so long as his gait's all right. And for pacers, here's perfection. Here, the right front and right rear legs operate together as a piston, just as, well, look, we'll put him up beside Morty, our budding young trotter, and show you the difference. Whereas Morty, who's closest to you, keeps his starboard side legs working independently, the pacer doesn't. He works his in tandem and thus follows the rules laid down for all pacers. They're strict rules, too. In a race, he must never break his gait from a pace to a trot. Unless his driver pulls him back to his regular beat, he's disqualified. And that goes for Morty, too. If he tries stealing the pacer's stuff, he's sent home to mama. But after all, why should he try it? The pacer, normally the faster horse, doesn't seem to have a thing that Morty needs. Yes, our young hopeful has plenty of promise. Style, stamina, and speed. A year's solid training, and he'll be ready for graduation and the start of his public career, the county fair. To the kiddies, that means peanuts and popcorn, cotton candy and carousel. To the fans of pacing and trotting, it's the supreme thrill of seeing highly trained, standard-bred stock match gait against gait. And to the community, it represents one of the most typically American traditions. The interest in fine horse flesh, like the saddle horses here on parade. For them, this is show-off day. But for these purebreds, it's judgment day. Passing in review before the judges' stand come first the mottle-coated Shire draft horses, then the Belgian draft, finally the famous Percheron breed. For them, this day is the event of the year. But for Morty, it's the moment of a lifetime. And he's off. And down the track for a 1-mile trip pounds our pure-blooded, standard-bred colt. Surely, Morty, like all these other trotters, is the true artist of all other racers. For his is the struggle between style and speed, the task of holding to his one single gait, pitted against the impulse to break forth and win. There he is, the number 3 horse, the one moving up. In this moment, he's capping 2 long years of hard, steady training, bringing with him perfect condition and a blue ribbon background. To cross the line, a winner. Yes, you've just seen the birth of a racer.